Let's send it back down to Sydney now. Joining us is the independent MP, Allegra Spender, to go back to this speech by Peter Dutton today. Good morning to you, Allegra. Hope all is well. Peter Dutton, he's going to blast the PM today over resources. He's going to call this government one of the most interventionist in our history, while railing against the government's renewable zealotry. What are your thoughts on some of those comments?
Look, I think when you look at the gas industry, for example, you see that Australian families have been paying more and more for their electricity and their gas because of price spikes across the globe. And so gas companies and coal companies, gas companies earned an extra $40 billion last year from their exports. But you know, for example, the change in the PRRT that the opposition is so unhappy about is only going to raise about 1.3% of that. And so my view is that, you know what, when Australian resources are earning extra profits overseas, you want the Australian community to get the benefit from them. And, you know, I've been saying that we should look more broadly at resources so that the Australian taxpayer gets the proper benefit from all the, you know, the resources that we have. That's absolutely critical.
Sure. From a business confidence sense, though, are we in danger of isolating ourselves when you've got countries such as Japan, big customers, express concerns about our perhaps changes to the export of these resources?
Look, I actually agree that, you know, businesses definitely want certainty, and they want to be able to have that certainty so they can make big investment decisions. And so what I've been arguing for, and I think the government should be doing, is more broadly reviewing our resource tax structure, so that, you know, companies overseas, but also local businesses, you know, have that certainty to invest and don't feel that they're going to make changes here, there, and everywhere. But I don't think it changes the point that, you know, for gas companies, I think Australian families should expect that Australia gets the full tax benefit of our resources.
So where do you draw the line? I mean, when it comes to the Petroleum Resource Rent Tax, I mean, it's at 40% or thereabouts. You know, you've got some Nordic countries where it's up towards 70%. You know, would you support something going that high? Where's the line there?
Oh, look, I think that it's, you know, the line is, you know, I think north of where we are right now. But I think it's, you know, I'm not necessarily saying we go up to the sort of Nordic countries either. You know, I think it is a broader question. Remember that 40% covers both the tax, but also actually covers the cost of the gas. You know, that's what the companies are paying the Australian, families and taxpayers for the use of their gas. So I think we can certainly go higher than 40%. But like, I think, as I said, we've got, you know, critical minerals, we've got lithium, we've got all these things that were going to be the future of Australia's wealth. And if we don't get the taxation settings right, you know, we'll have another sort of, you know, 20, 30 years of, you know, great profits going overseas and the Australian taxpayer not benefiting. Just
a final one here, Allegra, on housing. Are you in on the government's housing fund or out?
Look, I have supported that, but the truth is that it is nowhere near the intervention that we need on housing. And to be honest, what we missed in the last budget was a significant investment from the feds to get the states going on building housing supply. That would have been the great intervention in the housing market. So, you know, it's going to build 30,000 new homes, the sort of half the housing fund, but that is not enough, given that, you know, the gap is probably at least over a million and a half, maybe north of that.
What about as a Sydney sider, do you support Chris Minns' plans to build up instead of out?
Look, I think you will need to have good building, you know, up and increased densification. I think that's absolutely right, but you need the infrastructure for it. And I'm sitting in an electorate where we have one public high school, despite being one of the most densely populated electorates in the country. And that's the issue that I've got, is get the infrastructure right. But yeah, you will have to build up, but do it thoughtfully and do it respectfully and work with the community on where and how to do that.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you got no more land in your electorate. How are you going to build more schools?
No, well, there's, you know, you're going to have to build vertical schools. And, you know, we've got some great green spaces. It's really important that we preserve those great green spaces. But then, you know, look at how do you get the high schools, you know, around places that you can access those green spaces. Yeah. You know, we're looking at a site just around the corner from me, which, you know, could be a perfect site for a new high school.
Okay, Allegra Spender, thanks for your time. Talk to you soon.